Hello and welcome to the Empower Couples Podcast, where here you get modern, non-boring relationship advice for you and your partner to communicate like pros, fight smarter, and stay on the same team no matter the challenge that you face. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman.
And I'm Jocelyn Freeman, but you all just know us as the Freemans.
And this episode is Read the Room. Navigate your responses based on the present mood.
So read the room isn't a phrase that we use every day in our language, but it's such a great phrase because it's so true. We need to be able to read the room, read the energy. What mood is our partner in? What mood are we in? And be able to then shift, make a conscious choice of what will be more constructive, because there's really two paths, right? Whenever there's tension brewing, maybe miscommunication, someone's moody, one path is you feed into it, it escalates, you feel more tension, maybe you're arguing. The other path is that you can de-escalate things. You can reduce the tension, diffuse it, and therefore head in a good direction. Maybe redirect the energy and have a good day together.
So there's going to be times you have strong emotions, and this might come from an upset that you had. And whatever it is, it could be from how your partner spoke to you. It could be something from a few days ago. It could be that you feel their attitude isn't great right now. Whatever your upset is, right, you're going to have this feeling that I have to express this to my partner, and I'm going to do it now.
I'm going to make sure they know it's not okay.
So these are the times that you have to realize that, is what I'm going to say going to be received? Are we going to move towards relief? Are we going to move towards my need being met? Are we going to move towards repair from this thing I want to bring up? Or are we going to move into more tension? Mm-hmm. So it's really about discerning where the overall mood actually is at. For yourself, of course, but primarily for your partner. And there's a subtle decision to then make in that moment, because based on your discernment, it's either, like you said, going to spiral into a route of more escalating it. Mm-hmm. But if you read the room correctly, you can actually move towards relief, your need, and or repair.
So going into the first question that we want you to ask yourself in those moments of feeling upset, frustrated, sensing their mood, and you want to say something about it or kind of react to it, we want you to ask this: is this a pattern or an isolated/infrequent moment? So the first one being a pattern, that would be something that you feel like is happening, daily, or at least, a couple times, several times a week. So it is becoming the way they handle things, the way they're talking to you, their overall mood. Of course, if it's becoming a true pattern, then that needs to be a constructive conversation, which you've heard us talk about on different podcast episodes. That's a different topic, but that would be like, okay, yes, we need to actually sit down and talk about this pattern and how we can both shift this. But then the latter part of the question, is this an isolated/infrequent moment? That could be just that they had a hard day. Or maybe it was a hard phone call. Maybe they feel a lot of pressure on them because their, parent is sick. Maybe it was a hard day with the kids. Whatever was going on, maybe it is something that's infrequent, it's isolated, and so more what they need is just grace in that moment. We can't expect our partner to be perfect all the time, perfect mood, perfect way they say things, perfect tone all the time. They might be annoyed, they might be frustrated, it might be a hard day. And so if it is just that moment, then why don't we recognize that potential tension and be able to say, I'm going to offer grace here. I'm going to redirect things. Hey, I noticed some stuff going on with them. I'm going to turn on some music. Let's make dinner and say, I'm going to redirect the energy here. Because you can either feed in and fuel the energy, or you can redirect it. So is this a pattern, or is this an isolated or infrequent moment?
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, the second one is about momentum. And so some of you know that in a quote-unquote past life, I have an engineering degree. So I'm going to bring a little bit of physics into this. Mm-hmm. And that's where we really get momentum. Momentum is that an object is gaining momentum, means that it's picking up speed. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot more force to slow down a object that's already in motion, because force equals mass times acceleration. So the faster
We're
that
back
it's
in
moving,
science class.
the more force takes to slow down. And static wise, you have static friction and like rolling friction, and it actually takes more momentum to get something, or more force to get something going that's at rest rather than something that's already going. So, want to do a quick physics
Science,
perspective there. So, in your relationship, the momentum of, let's say, the week that you're having, where are you in the momentum of your connection, or you could say even disconnection? If you're in a place where you're having more tensions, small things are turning into conflict, you kind of have a momentum of disagreement and disconnection, then read that room in general. That what you bring up is likely going to keep the same momentum going.
That's so true.
So if you want to, let's say, slow it down first before you bring up your side, then you might need to add some affirmation, some love, some deposits, which is foreshadowing our next point. But you might need to do a few things to help your partner feel supported, or that they're listened to, that they're understanding, that they can be relaxed. I'm thinking about coming out of your child's room after trying to put them down for an hour and a half. Is that the best time to approach your partner when your week has been very challenging? Likely not. Maybe you need to say, hey, let me make you some tea, partner. Why don't you sit down? Why don't you relax? So slow the momentum down in the reading of the room. So then you're in a better space to be able to share, like, hey, here's an upset that I had before. I think this is recurring. Here's a need I have. Here's something I need to bring up. It's going to be better received.
I just have to underline how important this question is to ask yourself. Is the momentum already headed towards tension or relief? And that is really helpful for me to think about, even though I don't have the physics background, because it's I want to slow down the momentum of this disconnection, of this tension, frustration. So I want to be really discerning about what I say or how I say it. So anyway, I just wanted to underline that I think this is a really important point and is a good segue to the next thing to consider. Again, we're talking about reading the room, navigating your responses based on the present mood, and a big factor that affects the mood or the timing of things or even the momentum is where your love account is. So if you've heard us for a while, you know that the love account is the phrase that we use to describe kind of the invisible sense of being loved and connected. And it really does fluctuate, right? So it's not just that you know your partner loves you, it's whether you feel loved and you feel connected in that moment, in that day. Now, like a bank account, the love account is the sum of both deposits and withdrawals. Now, this isn't a whole episode on love account, so this is just the summary of it, but as time passes and you're adulting and you have a lot more responsibilities and you've gotten comfortable, it's very, very easy to be making way less deposits. Again, you're kind of comfortable. You're not paying attention. You're busy.
Yeah, you're kind of managing life and the tasks. And so those aren't bad things, to your point, but they don't end up being actual deposits to the level that you were doing in the beginning, let's say.
Exactly. And not only that, but you are making way more withdrawals, especially if the momentum isn't heading in a good direction and you're now making, why are you talking to me that way? Oh, why are you defensive? Bringing up the dishes. Are you really going to leave that here? Don't talk to them that way. And you're making lots more remarks and feedback and criticisms to each other. So you can see where this goes, right? And so when your love account is low and or your partner's is low, you aren't going to have as much grace for each other, to that prior point that we were talking about, grace. And so you really want to pay attention to, all right, if my partner seems off, they seem like they're in a mood, I feel this tension, maybe what is most appropriate right now and most needed is actually some deposits. I don't need to make a withdrawal by bringing something up about them. And so before we get into the next points for this episode, seriously, we just have to say, regarding this love account principle, you just have to do our 30-day couples challenge. It's just a non-negotiable. We just think it is the best action you can take. So for those of you who are new or haven't heard of it, The 30-day couples challenge is something you can sign up for today if you'd like to, and be able to get daily prompts/actions that really focus on loving actions and respectful communication. And if I were to summarize it into one sentence, the 30-day couples challenge simplifies how to make positive shifts in your relationship. So it's just a must. Sign up. Every day we get messages of couples saying like, this is just what we needed. My wife is loving what I'm doing here. So you're going to feel an immediate shift. So go to mycoupleschallenge.com, and that link will also be in the show notes, but just sign up, trust us. It's going to make a difference.
And we're in day 12. We started with a group of about 1,000 the start of this month. And 4 days ago, I just want to bring up, because this is great, was the question about love accounts. So the love deposit activity for the day was to ask your partner, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel like your love account is, with 10 being the highest? And then just very objectively asking, what could I have done to help raise or to make a deposit into your day today?
Yeah. Or what could I do now moving forward?
Oh, yeah, moving forward. Yeah. And that will help you in, hey, well, I realize where the momentum is in our relationship is maybe more in reverse. And so, okay, I have some things I want to bring up. There's some changes of behavior I want to request. There are some needs, but let me focus on these deposits so that I can slow the momentum down and start turning us in the other direction.
That's reading the room. That's going, hey, before I bring up another topic and say we need to work on this or you're not doing this, I need to actually focus on the love account first. Yes.
Once you do the next point, which I think is actually an upcoming a conversation starter that we have in the 30-day challenge too. But why don't you go with that one?
Yeah. So the next thing in considering like how you can read the room and be able to navigate your responses based on the mood is to ask your partner what they need instead of either like reprimanding them or biting back. So again, like picture yourself in a moment where you feel like your partner's off, they're in a mood, maybe they're being more short, defensive, all those things. You, instead of going like, rawr, I'm going to bite back at you, or don't talk to me that way again. There can either be this like reprimand or bite back. Instead, ask them what they need. That really helps diffuse the tension. And I hope you noticed that in the last day, Aaron, I did that with you, because we'll share a personal update soon with you guys. So I won't go into it now, but Aaron, you were kind of going through some stuff the last day, and just related to something going on in our life. And I was reading the room. And instead of biting back or reprimanding you, like being like, why are you like that? Don't talk to me that way. Instead, it was just like, hey, what do you need right now? So I hope you caught on to that. But ask your partner what they need.
And as we close this one out, we do want to make this clear, because there is a fine line. We're not saying that you should walk around and suppress yourself, because that just leads to the walking on eggshells feeling that, oh, I have to kind of avoid, and is my partner in a bad mood today? Can I bring things up or not? There's a fine line between that, which we're not ever asking anybody to do, but to realize that by reading the mood and reading the room, what you're going to ask can either be received or is going to have a higher potential of being rejected and turn into tension. So you could close this out, but my main thing is, look, you get to express what you need, but help yourself out by identifying when is the best time. Like, are we in a place in our relationship where making requests about big changes of behavior or changes in life is really going to be receptive?
Yeah.
If I've been making a bunch of withdrawals to you and then now I'm trying to make more of an ask of you, look, it's just influence.
Yeah.
So there's that piece, plus the other side of walking on eggshells is don't be so selfish, really, or don't be so low on your own emotional regulation that you feel that you have to express an upset whenever you want to, right? That's not a pass to just say whatever you want whenever you want. Be responsible for your requests, for your reaction, for your emotion, but also be responsible that your partner's in a place to better receive. You're just helping yourself out.
Yeah, I think with what you just said and kind of an overall theme from the episode is okay, if I'm going to read the room, I'm going to pay attention to the energy level. Where did my partner just come from? Did they come from a hard meeting? Or did they just come from the baby's bedroom, getting them down? Did they just finish doing something for us? So I'm going to pay attention to the energy. I'm going to pay attention to the mood, and I'm going to be discerning about, is this the moment to say something? Is this needed? Is this necessary? Is the momentum, as we said already, headed towards more tension, or is it headed towards more relief and a good day? So, this isn't about, like Erin said, walking on eggshells, overthinking things. If there's a pattern, of course, that's what we're all about, talking about things that truly are recurring. But this is an element that we want you to just pay attention to, is like that discernment of, is this actually important for me to bring up, or is this a time to offer grace? So we hope that this was helpful and full of a ton of reminders for you that you can apply into your relationship, that you can implement in your relationship. And if you are listening to this episode, it would mean so much if you would give us a 5-star review on whichever platform you're listening on. That truly helps us as content creators so much. And then lastly, just make sure you go sign up for the 30-day couples challenge. Truly just trust us. We get incredible messages every day from husbands, from wives, from partners, and you will feel the difference in your relationship with these 30 days of daily prompts and actions. So we love you guys, and we will talk to you on the next episode.